Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aisha Nabiha and metric number is 241024. Today, the book that I am presenting is written by Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, titled The Status of Women in Islam. There is a verse from this book that I find truly fascinating and I would like to share. The verse I want to share is located in Surah An-Nisa, verse 1. Allah said, "O mankind, be dutiful to your Lord, who created you from a single person, Adam, and from him he created his wife Eve, and from them both he created many men and many women. And fear Allah, through whom you demand your mutual right. Do not cut the relation of the womb, kinship. Surely Allah is even and all-watcher over you." This verse reminds us that man and woman are unique from the same soul, highlighting that both genders share equal human dignity and value. Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi was a prominent Islamic scholar and known for his modern approach to Islamic teaching. He was an orphan who lost his father at a young age and was raised by his mother and uncle. His life experiences deeply shaped his empathy and understanding of social issues, including the status of women. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi wrote this book to correct misconception about women and highlight Islamic point of view that women deserve dignity, respect, protection, and equality in all roles of life. In this presentation, there are several topics that I choose from the book that will be discussed, including women as human beings, women as daughters, and the topic of divorce. These topics help us to understand better about Islam's true stand on women and correct all the long-standing misconceptions toward women. The first topic that will be discussed is women as human beings. In the beginning of this book, Yusuf Al-Qaradawi mentioned on page 3 that Islam views women as valuable human beings, equal to man in terms of humanity. He said, Islam considers a woman as a worthy human being with a share in humanity, equal to that of the man. Both are two branches of a single tree, and two children from the same father, Adam, and mother, Eve. Their single origin, their general human trait, the responsibility for the observation of religious duties with the consequent reward or punishment, and the unity of their destiny all bear witness to the equality from the Islamic point of view. This shows that men and women share the same origin and the same human worth. However, throughout history, many people believe that women existed only to serve men and had no rights of their own. Women were often looked down, mistreated, and denied dignity. At that time, Islam came to correct the perception. Islam teaches that women are just as responsible as men in worshipping Allah, fulfilling duties and striving for Jannah. Both men and women stand equal to Allah in faith. Allah created all human beings from one man and one woman, reminding us that we come from the same source and should treat one another with respect and equality. As stated in Quran, Surah Al-A'raf, verse 189, it is He who created you from a single person, Adam, and then created from him his wife Eve, so that he may find comfort in her. This verse shows that man and woman were created to complement one another, not to compete or dominate. In many other verses, Allah clearly mentioned that men and women who believe, passionate, honest, charitable, who fast and remember Allah, all of them will receive the same reward. Good deeds are valued by the sincerity, not by one's gender. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi also highlights another significant verses from the Quran, Surah Al-Tawbah, verse 71. The believers, men and women, are awli of one another. They enjoy al-ma'ruf and forbid from al-munkar. They offer their prayers perfectly and give the zakah and obey Allah and His Messenger. Allah will have mercy on them. As we can see, this verse emphasizes that men and women are partners in doing good, supporting each other and guiding one another. Both share equal responsibility in worship, charity, and obedience to Allah. He then discussed the story of Adam and Hawa. Many people, especially the Christian tradition, blame the Eve for the forbidden fruit, but in Islam, the Quran clearly states that both Adam and Hawa made a mistake, and both repented together. This teaches that responsibility is shared. Neither gender is superior or more sinful than the other. Before many other religions or society, Islam already granted women rights. For example, women have the right to own property, the right to inherit, the right to buy, sell, donate, lend, and even manage her own wealth. Islam gave women full financial independence long before modern laws did. The Prophet ﷺ also said, seeking knowledge is obligatory for every Muslim. And Yusuf Al-Qaradawi said, every Muslim obviously involved men and women on equal footing as a rule formalized by all authorities of jurisprudence. Islam also encouraged women to pursue knowledge that benefit themselves and the Ummah. There is also a beautiful story about Hani, the Prophet's cousin, where during the conquest of Mecca, Hani protected her from an enemy. When her brother tried to harm him, She went to Prophet ﷺ for guidance, and he honored her decision with respect. Prophet said, "We confer Islam on him that you give refuge to, Hani." From this story, we can see that women's voice, judgment, and moral decision carry weight in Islam. Islam never intended for women to be silenced or ignored. Both men and women stand equal before Allah, and both have the same path to the Jannah. Moving on, Yusuf Al-Qaradawi also discussed the story of woman as a daughter. Before reading this book, there is one poem that truly touched my heart. It began with the line, "But for it the soft girl in the cast down for. We have taken this Muslim. I will help you in great trouble on this vast earth and wide. Surely, when our children are among us, they are the apple of our eyes, surveying the earth. If the wind blows on any of them, my eyes will never close." Page 32 from the book. This poem highlights the tenderness and freshness of daughters, showing how deeply children are cherished by their family. Moreover, it beautifully mirrors the deep affection of Prophet Muhammad SAW had for his daughter Fatima. He said, "Fatima is part of me. Whatever hurts her hurts me." And another version he said, "What pleased her pleased me, and what saddened her saddened me." This saying emphasized not only his love for her, but also the honor and respect Islam gives to daughters. However, this was not the case in pre-Islamic Arabian society. Before Islam, having a daughter was often considered shameful. Many fathers would burn their daughter alive out of fear of poverty, embarrassment, or the belief that girls were useless. Because of this, some tribes even allowed daughters to be sold or given away, knowing they may be harmed or killed. In response to the injustice, Allah strongly condemned this behavior in the Quran. Allah said, "And when the female infant buried alive, as the pagans Arab used to do, shall be questioned for what sin was she killed." Surah At-Takwir verse 8 and 9. Likewise, Allah emphasized that killing children out of fear or ignorance is a great sin. Thus, Islam arrived to remove this horrific practice and restore the woman's dignity. Furthermore, the story of Maryam shows how Allah values women. Imran's wife, the mother of Maryam, prayed for a son to serve Allah, yet Allah blessed her with Maryam instead. Despite this, she accepted her daughter wholeheartedly, and Maryam became one of the most honored women in history. This story clearly demonstrates that both men and women have equal potential to achieve a spiritual greatness. The Prophet ﷺ also encouraged kindness toward daughters, promising great reward for those who treat them well. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi also emphasized the father's responsibility toward his daughter. He said, "As to the father's control over his daughter, it does not exceed the limits of moral education, exactly as her brothers." Page 32. According to him, a father must guide, protect, and educate his daughter, teaching her to pray at the age of 7 and disciplining her gently at the 10 if needed. Besides that, a father must support her financially until marriage and treat her with love and respect. Islam absolutely forbids fathers from selling their daughter or forcing them into a harmful situation. On page 23, Yusuf Al-Qaradawi also stated that if the daughter has her own money, the father should keep it for her. A father is forbidden to marry his daughter to another man in exchange for being allowed to marry the man's daughter, which is called jurisprudence as a backhand marriage, due to its lack of dowry, which is the right of daughter, not the father. This leads to the topic of forced marriage, which Islam strictly prohibits. A woman can only marry if she gives her own consent. For example, if a woman is a widow, she must verbally agree, while a virgin must express consent through silence. The Prophet ﷺ supported women's rights in marriage through real cases. For example, Khansa binti Khadam complained that her father married her off without consent, and Prophet ﷺ cancelled the marriage immediately. Similarly, another girl approached Aisha saying her father married her to his nephew for status. The Prophet ﷺ gave her the choice of continue or to end the marriage, confirming that women have voice and choice. Additionally, the mother consultation is very important because she understands her daughter better. While the woman has right to refuse the marriage, Islam also requires wali, usually her father. The Prophet ﷺ said, any woman who marries without the permission of her guardian, her marriage is invalid or void. On the other hand, Imam Abu Hanifah believed that each woman may marry herself if the man is suitable, as long as the marriage doesn't harm her reputation or interest. This opinion shows that scholars recognize women's capability to make their own decisions. Finally, the Prophet ﷺ said, nothing is better for two people who love each other other than marriage. Therefore, if a daughter loves a good and suitable man, he should be prioritized as her spouse, because emotional compatibility brings harmony and prevent unhappiness. Altogether, this teaching shows that Islam provides women with freedom, dignity, and protection. while giving them a voice in making decisions that shape their own life. Lastly, the discussion will be concluded with the topic of divorce. According to tradition transmitted by Abu Dawud, the most hateful halal thing to Allah is divorce. This shows that although divorce is allowed, it is disliked because it breaks the connection between the families. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi compares divorce to a painful surgery that is difficult but sometimes necessary to prevent a greater harm. He explained that when reconciliation fails and conflict continues, divorce becomes the only solution to protect the both parties. However, Islam recognizes that sometimes divorce becomes necessary, especially when marriage reaches a point where both husband and wife can no longer live together peacefully. Furthermore, Allah promised that if a couple separate, He will provide for each one of them. This shows that although divorce is difficult, but it's not the end of Allah's mercy. At the same time, Islam also teaches many ways to prevent divorce. Before it happened, the Prophet ﷺ said that a woman is married for her wealth, beauty, lineage, and religion, but he advised choosing the one with a strong faith. This guidance applies to women as well. They should choose a husband with a good character and faith. Islam encourages respectful meeting between future spouses so they can understand each other better. A strong marriage requires mutual understanding, passion, and respect. The Quran says, if you dislike them, it may be that you dislike a thing that Allah brings through a great deal of good. Surah An-Nisa verse 19. This ayah teaches husbands to control their anger and look at the positive qualities in their wife. If conflict arises, Islam recommends a few steps to solve it. Start with advice and support, then give some space. Only if really needed, use a gentle discipline and never use violence or humiliation to the wife. Family can also help to bring everyone back together. However, if all attempts fail, Islam set a clear rules for divorce. It should not be done in anger, during women's menstrual period, or right after the intimacy. Divorce must be intentional, thoughtful, and in the right state of mind. Using divorce as a threat or in a moment of rage does not count. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi also stated that he should have the intention to divorce his wife and to actually spread it from her. If he made the divorce and also urge with blackmail or threaten, it will be invalid, as some Asian scholars have said. After divorce, Islam encourages reconciliation during Iddah period and requires men to provide housing and maintenance. The Quran also recommends either you return her on reasonable terms or release her with kindness. Surah Al-Baqarah verse 239. While divorce is usually initiated by husband due to his financial responsibilities, Islam does not leave women helpless. Women have several ways to seek separation. First, they can include a condition in marriage contract giving them the right to initiate the divorce. Second, they can seek holy ransom by returning their dowry. Third, they can request family arbitration. Fourth, they can go to court if the husband is unable to fulfill material duties or if he harms or neglects her. Through this option, Islam ensures that both men and women are protected from injustice and harm. This balanced approach shows that Islamic divorce, when understood correctly, is not a tool of oppression but a system based on fairness, compassion, and wisdom. Some people misuse divorce, using it as a threat or saying it in anger, even though the Prophet ﷺ clearly said not to divorce in a blind anger. Ibn Abbas explained that divorce should always be done with clear and serious intention. In Islam, divorce is meant to be a thoughtful, deliberate decision to protect the family, and any abuse of it is the fault of people, not the religion. In contrast, Christianity generally forbids divorce. For Catholic, it is also allowed in the case of adultery, and Orthodox Church also strongly forbid it. Islam, on the other hand, allows divorce in a certain situation, giving people a way out when a marriage can no longer work. In conclusion, Yusuf Al-Qaradawi book shows that Islam honors and values women, giving them rights in education, marriage, inheritance, and even divorce. The teaching of the Quran and the Prophet ﷺ make it clear that men and women share the same worth, even in different situations. Islam provides a balanced way to protect women's dignity and ensure their voice is heard. And that's all for me. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.